The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to We Are the People with Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who ask you to know what's happening with your student loan. Tracy and Jorge keep a deep look at student loans in this country and the industries that surround it. Every week, We Are the People will bring you new insight into the corporate welfare industry, such as bailouts, and they connect with student loans. The show will highlight on your constitutional rights and how the current system is built to infringe upon them. Join the conversation by visiting our website chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Or call the show at 888-565-1470 and let us hear from you. And now, let's tune in to Tracy and Jorge for this week's discussion.
And welcome back to We Are the People, Students for Liberty. And today, I would like to introduce you to our new co-host, George. You want to go ahead and tell them a little bit about you?
Yes, I will. First of all, I want to thank the opportunity that Tracy has given me to be on a program like this, which I think is very important to inform the people of our country of the different things that are going on in a very sincere manner from two people who just care about this country. And we're not politicians, we're just regular everyday people at work. And so I really am very excited about this opportunity. My name is Jorge Estomba, and so the curiosity goes away right off the ground. It's a very Jorge is George, of course. I was born in Cuba. All my parents and my family are from Spain, and my last name Estomba is very different. There's only 3 Estombas in this country. We're all related. I guess there's a 4th now, from what I understand. I have to see who he is, and we're probably related. It's a Basque last name, in other words, from the Basque region of Spain. And that's why it's so different. I know I get asked a lot about that. It's not Italian, but or French. It is part French, but it's Basque from the region of Spain, of that region in Spain. Tracy mentioned that I am part of Move On, which I'm pretty proud to be part of that great organization. Move On is a national progressive social political organization. It's been around since 1998, thereabouts.
Yeah, whenever Monica Lewinsky had her dirty dress.
Yeah, I always forget. I shouldn't do that. And we're 8 million strong nationally. But it is worth clarifying that I'm here as an individual to voice my opinions. As an activist that I am a leader for Move On in the South Florida area. But my opinions will be me as an individual, as Jorge Estomba. I want to voice my opinions. I will mention Move On, as I will mention any other organization that I've dealt with. There's a number of great organizations that are working on behalf of this country, and I will be unbiased. I will be very fair to any other organization. So I'm here as an individual. In the time that is a little bit, so you can get me to know a little bit about me more. I have been an activist now for a number of years, social, political, been involved with a lot of issues that pertain to the problems that we have encountered as a country. And we can talk about the health issue, we can talk about low pay, we can talk about the Iraq wars, we can talk about Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. There's a number of things, of course, that we in this country are dealing with, and that we as a people feel that's important, and we want to educate people with whatever knowledge and experience we have here as a team. Being an activist, I learn a lot. I've learned to communicate. I've learned to listen, which I think is very important. A lot of people in this country have forgotten how to listen, especially our politicians and the elected officials. So I have listened and learned a lot. I think that that's an advantage I bring with me because I know what the people are feeling. And that's one facet that I want to bring to this program. Other than being involved in as a social activist with Move On and other organizations, my profession is I'm an international marketing consultant. I worked for corporate management for many years, companies such as 3M, Montgomery Ward, which at the time was the second largest retailer in the world. They went out of business in the 90s. I worked with Greyhound Corporation. So I bring to the table an experience with corporate America, which nowadays, of course, is in the highlight, in the limelight of everything because of the power that they have gained and all the controversies regarding corporate welfare in corporate America. And so I will bring knowledge into that in the years that I spent working for these large corporations. And now I'm a business person, a small business person. So I can bring that to the table also. I know what the differences are between corporate America per se and a small business person, which I am now. As an international marketing consultant, I've traveled throughout the United States and the world, and so again, I bring to the table certain knowledge, not that I know it all, but experience would be, I think, the proper word. The experience and the exposure that I have seen in other cultures and how we can learn from other cultures, I think is important that I bring that experience here. So basically, those are my assets, so to speak. I'm also a psychologist, but at this point in time, I'm not certified to work in the United States. I was a psychologist with a degree in industrial psychology from the University of the Andes in Bogota. I have worked here some psychology, but at this point in time, because I didn't do the particular revalidation process, I am not licensed to get involved in a lot of things dealing with psychology, but I can put in my 2 cents worth of that. So having said that, that's a little bit about me. I have been living in South Florida for the last 25 years approximately, so I know our state, I know our community quite well, and have lived in Miami all that time. So basically that's a little bit about me, so you get to know me superficially, preliminarily, and hopefully we'll get to know each other as we go week to week, helping each other to make progress and share with you what we think are the important and critical matters that we should discuss in this program to make this a better country, because after all, we are the people, and that's what's important.
Yeah. So I guess I got to tell them a little bit about me now, huh?
Yeah, I think you should.
I don't know that I wanted to do that, but
Okay.
well, it's a major contrast, so that's kind of something I really like about this new combination that we've got going on here. Jorge, you see, is corporate America, also small business. I, on the other hand, this show is happening because I am a student loan debtor. That is my cause. That is why I am here. I have paid off almost $36,000 of a $40,000 debt, and I owe over $47,000 in interest and fees on that very same loan. So I'm not happy about that for a multitude of reasons, and I'm also a single mother living on Section 8, and I've just about had enough of people telling me, you know, how badly I've handled my finances, especially when the United States of America is $16 trillion in debt. So when you can clean up your debt, then you can make me feel guilty, because I'm not feeling that way anymore. So, I mean, we've got a lot of common causes, I think, especially what's happening with the middle class. I see the entire middle class being pushed down into poverty. It's bad enough that that's happening, but, you know, they're educating us. So, I mean, that doesn't sound very smart. You're going to educate us, beat us down, and then, you know, people are not going to stay there. So we just want to bring some clarity to several of the issues is what we're here to do, from some very different perspectives. I mean, my neighbors, I live in a beautiful neighborhood, but, you know, there's 5, 6 people living in apartments that are right next to me. Because rents are so high that you need 6 people if you're working at minimum wage to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. So, you know, hey, you guys that have worked hard to make these great companies, I'm all for that. I want to do that too, but you can't leave people hanging like you are. So we're going to talk about all these different things. I think a lot of different things wrap up with student loans. For instance, the veterans and our poor are targeted by these companies, these for-profit companies. Now, I'm not saying all for-profit college-educated people have a bad degree or that these colleges are all bad, but there are many, many of them out there. You have nationally accredited colleges that are using, well, excuse me, regionally accredited colleges using national curriculum. You know, if you're a government school, you are scrutinized and fined and beaten down, but if you're private, you don't have much oversight. So we're going to talk about all those different things.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, that these schools now that are private are really getting a tremendous break. They're distinctive from the other entities, from the other institutions, and actually, what you just said is the truth, and that boils down to discriminatory practices against.
But until people step forward and start talking about it, and you got to realize when these things happen, it's not going to happen overnight, and you're going to tell people this, and they're going to beat you down, and they're not going to want to hear it, but you know, you have to keep going forward. They're afraid. That's why they make you feel so small, because they know that we're right, and eventually right does win out. It's proven throughout history. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
You're listening to We Are the People with social justice advocates Tracy Max and Jorge Estamba, exposing the faults in our current-day society with industries that directly influence student loans. Join the conversation by calling into the studio at 888-565-1470 or join the chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Again, to call in, the number is 888-565-1470, and let us hear your voice. Now, back to our show.
And welcome back to We Are the People, Students for Liberty. This is WRPBI-TV, and we are presenting Soumya Munjal. Did I say that right?
Soumya Munjal.
Munjal. I always get that wrong.
It's a hard name.
It is. I'm not used to it. And I've asked you how many times to pronounce it. But anyway, here we are. And Soumya and Sharon are two very good friends. New friend and a friend that for many years. Sharon and I met when I went to school, and I was on the workforce or the work study program, and she was my boss, and she was awesome. Now she's also an ombudsman. She's still the director. Tell your title.
Director of Library and Learning Services.
Yes, boy, they changed that one, and it's a mouthful. So she deals with college students every day. She's very intimate with this, and seeing that we're going to talk about the curriculum right now, I thought, would be the best one to ask the question. So with that, I'm going to interject if I see fit, and with that, I'm going to let you two begin.
Okay. Soumya, tell us about your own college journey and how you ended up paying for school.
Sure. So I grew up from immigrant parents, and so my parents didn't take out loans when they went to school, and so when I started applying to college, they told me, you know, there's no way that we're going to let you sign in any loans, and you need to work your own way. So when I was 14, I started working at a dry cleaners, and then just kept working after that. There was a time where I worked 2 jobs from 16 to 18, but I ended up saving a lot of money, like 10 grand. As an 18-year-old, you're like rich when you have 10 grand. And so when it came to applying for school, you know, I had good grades and had a pretty decent ACT score, so I thought I could, you know, go to like a big state school or maybe a school in Chicago. But unfortunately, the price tag was really high, and so my parents were like, there's no way that we're going to help you pay for this, and there's no way we're going to let you sign for a loan. So I ended up going to a state school that was close by, Northern Illinois University. Definitely not my first choice, but the best choice that I ever made. And it was very affordable. I commuted for the first 2 years, and then I was fortunate enough to find enough scholarships and different work opportunities. So then I was able to graduate with an undergrad and a master's. And I made money off of school just because for working, and then also the scholarships that I had. So I just believe that there are ways to get educated without putting yourself in a burden.
Okay, so tell us about the Youthful Savings College Community Engagement Program that you have.
Sure. So because of the fact that I was fortunate enough to graduate without any debt, I wanted to teach other young adults how to do that. And so what we do is we have a program called My Own Business Challenge, where we teach kids how to create a business and then incentivize them based on how much they save with what they're earning. And so since we're targeting like middle school aged kids, we want our college kids to then take our program, find kids in their community, teach them, and then they earn a generous commission for doing that. They also get certified as a certified financial educator from one of our partners. And we're just hoping to grow a movement of both entrepreneurship and also learning how to manage your money and paying for things on the cash basis.
Okay, so the college students who are involved in this, they have business backgrounds, or?
Yeah, some do. Some have business backgrounds. Some are in the art. It doesn't really matter. It's all about like being a compassionate leader, right? So if you're a compassionate leader and you believe in our program, which is creating something based on your passion, right, like a business, then I think you're fit to come work for us.
Okay. What advice do you have for incoming and current college students regarding paying for their education?
So I definitely believe that college is a business, and so it's really important to understand that when you go in. Although they are teaching you something, it's an investment that you're making, and so therefore it's very important to understand return on investment. So make sure that when you go to school, you understand how much you're paying, how you're paying for it, and then what the forecasted return is going to be, and your decision should really be based upon that. So I was very fortunate in the sense that my initial investment into Northern Illinois University was very low, and so therefore my return was high. I also majored in accounting, so it was easy for me to get a job. I'm a CPA, but I think it was just my parents too. I think they did a really good job of just coming from an immigrant background and them having to really work hard in America. But I understand that perhaps other kids out there in both America and the world don't understand that. And so I just wanted to like help fill the gap. So how do we, some of the strengths that I had, how do we get those strengths and spread it? And so that's kind of how Youthful Savings began. And we want other college kids to understand that, who then teach the next generation. So it's really about this cycle and just like helping the cycle along.
Where do you see students who are not business students in the program?
Well, a lot of people that work for Youthful Savings right now are not business students or didn't come from a business background. So really it's about passion, right? So like no matter what it is that you major in, you're passionate about it. But I believe that if you're passionate about it, you can monetize that and then you can then pay for things, right? Because the whole world works on business because we have to exchange money. So by having a business program, we're then supplementing some of these really passionate creators that are out there, but we're teaching them how to create a business, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're teaching the college students to make a business?
Because they're working for us as a contractor, so they're basically their own business.
So you teach them to be, so you're training them to be a business within a business. So if they're the kind of person that comes in and they're not doing what they don't know how to do
their taxes. That's a big thing of business. You have to know how to do your paperwork.
Well, see, they taught taxes when I was in school. I learned how to fill out
That's great.
I don't do my own, and I wouldn't now, but it was taught.
Yeah, and
but they don't even teach you how to write a check any longer.
Right.
No, and I had that in class too.
Because they're so busy teaching the other stuff. There's a shortage of teachers too.
There is a shortage of teachers, but that's because of budget cuts, you know.
So, and then we also are the co-founder of Youthful Savings. This is this guy named John Katzenbach, and he's a very seasoned marketing and sales guy. So he works with our community engagers, college community engagers, and he teaches them soft skills and how to engage the community. So he's teaching them the people skills. I'm teaching them like the foundation, the financial stuff of a business, and then we all kind of work together to help them be successful. We are also obviously becoming successful, and then more importantly, the kids that we're serving are all becoming successful. So it's really this knowledge distribution, resource distribution. I mean, I'm all about sharing as much as we earn. The more we grow, the more we share, is the way we like to phrase it. Because at the end of the day, you don't need a lot to live, but if we can build a momentum of happy people that are really passionate about what they're doing and helping each other, then I think the world would be a better place.
So what can we do as a country then to make higher education more accessible?
So it goes back to living within your means. I think sometimes this whole thing got started because greed, money is not a bad thing, it's a tool, but greed is a bad thing. And so it's really important, and it gets tough as as things grow, I think you're growing and you want to keep earning instead of just being happy with what you have. And so if you take that philosophy and kind of take it to higher education, like maybe there's a way for tuition not to always go up every year. Like why is it going up every year? Like is there a way to kind of stabilize that? Because education used to be the great equalizer, and I want it to be the great equalizer again. The more educated we are, the better we are. And so, you know, just allowing education to be for some people that come from a certain background isn't really fair to the rest of the people. We're not going to grow as a country, as a world, if we keep doing that. We need to share the knowledge.
I agree. Thank you. Do you have any more questions?
No, I don't at this point.
Well, and two, also I'd like to point out that you grow these kids up sometimes too.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and we continually evolve. So we did our first big program in Washington, D.C. at Martha's Table, and we learned right away that after we left, so we have an 8-week program, that we couldn't keep track of them, and so then we came up with a web tracker. So basically they're able to document how much they're earning, how much they're saving, we have all their information, and that way we can hold them accountable, because I believe you need to hold people accountable in order to see them to success. And so, yeah, and we learned so much. Like, just, I mean, it's amazing to be around these kids. They're so talented. I feel like I'm a mom, even though I'm not. Like, you know what I mean? And
they give you energy.
Yeah, they give me energy, and they're so smart, and they're so pure, I feel like, and because they're so, you know, pure, they're willing to take these risks and use there's not as much fear in them, right? So as they're growing a business, they're doing it purely out of I'm really good at this, and they're going to keep doing it, and they earn good money. Like one of our biggest success stories is this girl named Angela, and she's 10 years old, and she's making duct tape wallets, and we built a website for her. She went through our program, and we have her on a plan that if she saves $50 every single week, then she has 20 grand by the time she's 18, and then if you teach her how to invest that as well, then she's going to be really successful. And she's doing this business because she understands that.
So do you have investment services built into this that you try to get them into?
So
or is that
I'm a CPA.
Yeah.
I am a CPA. I do have a company called CPA for the People, and we partner with different financial institutions. We don't take any money from the financial institutions, but we understand that they need to have financial instruments in order for the money to grow. I personally am an investor, so I try to, you know, teach people of all ages.
So how much are you, you know, these are little kids, these are little investments, and so...
Well, right now we just want them to save, right? Like you should invest.
So it goes
right now,
afterward?
like save, because unfortunately, like my parents lost a lot of their money for college because they went into the .com bubble. So I'm not saying, I'm telling them to save right now, right? Because cash is king. But as you have more money, then it makes sense to invest.
So it's looking forward to long-term investment.
Yes, yeah, we keep it all in the family, right? So if you're part of Youthful Savings, as you grow, we'll get you when you're in college, you know, hopefully you can come work for us. And then I'm a CPA for the People, so I can get them when they're older.
So tell us how they make money. The college,
they get a commission.
Okay,
yep.
So
everything is...
we can go to the website for that, or they can call you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, how would they reach you? How is the best way for the college people that are interested in entrepreneurship?
Our website, youthfulsavings.com, is the best way to reach us.
And there is a phone number on there.
There's a phone number, and there's also a contact form that you can fill out.
Okay, and so for now we're going to say good night, and we'll be back with Jorge from Move On, and we're going to work on we're going to talk about putting up a petition and how to find it, and what she thinks legislation should be. Or that wasn't really termed well, was it? Well, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Some positive changes, yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back with Jorge and me, of course. And what we want to do, we've got about 10 minutes or so left of the show. We just want to talk real quick about different subjects that we're passionate about. Jorge's going to talk to you a few things. This is a conglomeration here. I mean, this is my show, and it is student loans. But while we are together co-hosting for now, we want to talk about what's passionate for both of us. And although Jorge knows a lot and has a lot of good information on what is important to me, he also has some things that are very important to him, and I want to allow him time to share that on this show as well. So why don't you tell them about what's going on with you, what's important to you, and then we're going to wrap up and tell you some other things that I feel are related to the student loan issue. Probably won't be able to get into a whole lot of why. Maybe you'll come come back and see me so I can tell you about that. And then we're going to talk about some different kind of guests that we have planned on what we're looking for and what we hope to do. All right? So why don't you talk to him about a couple of things that are really important to you.
Okay, I'll try to make this as brief as possible. It's a subject that is really passionate to me, and we'll discuss it at more length in other shows, and we'll have guests. And that is what I call, and has been called by many groups, including the media, and that is corporate welfare. Corporate welfare is when the government of the United States of America gives away money to corporations who are selling in billions of dollars and have generating billions of dollars with a B as in boy, in net profits. Net profits, obviously, is what you bring to your pocket after expenses, and that's how you gauge a company. Well, the United States government is doing a tremendous job of helping these poor people, and I'm being sarcastic, of course, of giving them billions of dollars in subsidies. That in itself is a term that has been misused, and they have intentionally misled us into what subsidy is. And speaking to people, they think that subsidies are loans. Subsidies are not loans. Subsidies are giveaways. Free money.
Really?
Okay? Completely.
So when they are giving subsidies to all the game companies, to billions, millions at least, to the game companies to make war games, they're giving them subsidies and slashing mental health. They're not alone. They just get that free and clear.
I'm glad we're bringing this up. There is so much misconception, and it has been done intentionally. That's where publicity, marketing goes into being a science, and how we get duped, because everything is marketing, okay? Subsidies are gifts. If the government,
I want a gift.
That's what I was just going to say. I would love for the government to give my little company a subsidy of only $1 million. That's nothing, okay? That means that that's a gift to my company because they're so nice up in Washington. However, your company and the guy in the corner with the pizza place and the hardware and the toy store, etc., 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 they're not going to get that. The corporations that get that are Westinghouse, General Electric, Verizon, ExxonMobil, BP British Petroleum, Shell, which is a Dutch company from the Netherlands. The oil industry gets billions of dollars in in government subsidies to these corporations. That is corporate welfare. They are giving money away. That money never comes back.
But they have billions in their own profits. Why do they need government subsidies?
This is something that's why it's passionate to me.
Well,
we'll never see that again.
This is going to work out because, okay, I have issue with the corporate for a few different reasons. Oh wow. It
is very sad. It is disrespectful. It is, I don't even know how
to explain it, right?
In a clean language. How to be able
let's just go past this and talk about your other one, and we'll give a little list of the other.
But corporate warfare is something.
We're gonna have guests on for that one.
It's something that is really critical to our country because the money that we could be using in all these great programs.
It's just people like me that are, Section 8 that are sitting on the couch eating bonbons and sucking down beer. We're the ones that are.
Of course, we're
the one milking the country.
Ones that are ruining the country. And we're milking. So this is why this is such a passionate and such a all-encompassing, and all the repercussions that corporate welfare has this is to do a number of shows with people who are experts in the area.
So yes, we'll hear more about that.
And we're going to hear a lot more about that.
Okay. So I know another one big to you is the TPP, right?
TPP is something that is a bill that is going. TPP means Trans-Pacific Pact. And what it is another NAFTA. If we all remember what NAFTA was, NAFTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement, which brought in Mexico, Canada, and the United States to work together, those three countries, to interchange goods, okay? manufacture goods in those countries. There is no type of duty or import tariff regarding that. And those programs can work. Now, they can be very complex. I'm not an expert at that. Even the government doesn't know what they're doing. So, well, I guess I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than they are regarding that. And it was very well meant by Bill Clinton. It got out of hand. It didn't work. Okay? Now, TPP, to put it, because this is very complex, is not United States, Canada, and Mexico, only 3 countries, where, by the way, excusing the French, we got screwed. That didn't help us at all. Mexico ate us up. Okay, we lost jobs, we lost sales from U.S. corporations. Canada didn't do a bad job either. And it's not the Mexicans' fault and the Canadians' fault.
No,
we agreed to that pact. Okay, now TPP takes it a humongous step. It's called NAFTA on steroids.
So we will have more about that for you for sure.
What that is, because if NAFTA was bad, my friends, you have no idea the repercussions.
And
with
this
TPP.
does indirectly tie into student loans.
Of course.
You know, all of these different things that we're going to go over do actually have an impact on student loans, and we're going to try to open that up to you and show you. I mean, these things have been coming for a long time. We just couldn't see it so much with credit cards because the debt wasn't huge enough.
That's correct.
So a big thing, you know, housing and mortgages, that's all the same people behind it. We're going to talk about the money behind our debt, the people that are behind the money behind our debt. We're going to talk about consumer protections in regards to student loans because they've been stripped away, yet you can go out and gamble your whole life away, claim bankruptcy, and everything's okay. But with student loans, you can literally have a tumor in your brain, be dying, and they will not waive that loan because your parents probably co-signed for it, so they're going to suck the money out of them after you die. So watch out if you've got a co-signer. So there's lots of things we got going on. A big one, I think, the biggest connected with student loans and debt, period, is mental health. I mean, now that he's talking about subsidies, that just really irritates me because I do have an article at home that came out last year about all the subsidies that were going to gun companies and game companies for like Call of Duty and so on. And they were in the millions, hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s to many, many different companies. They added up to many millions, and then they had a couple piddly applications for subsidies for mental health that were well under $300,000, and there was only a few of them, and they were all denied. So I didn't truly understand subsidies. I knew that it had been depicted as one way, but I knew it wasn't quite right, so it's something I was looking into anyway.
Let me ask you a question, Tracy. When you say game companies...
game companies like Call of Duty, war games. So.
You're talking about the electronic war game industry?
Right. So,
well, you know, they make billions of dollars in profits.
Yeah, yeah.
So they also are getting free money?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So
here we go.
That's new.
Here's another one.
So anyway, we've only got about 1 minute left. Is there, let's see. Well, we'll have guests that we're coming on that'll be involved with all this. We got a couple different psychologists that we hope
There'll be psychologists on board. There'll be people who are involved in marketing, people who have worked for the government.
And we want to teach you about the marketing and sales end of it too. So, you know, when I can, we'll let you know techniques. This is actually a technique. And
because everything is marketing nowadays, and we're the ones that are being duped with the marketing strategies that these corporations and their lovely public service announcements that they're being so nice to us, and the government also is fooling us through their marketing. So that's very important.
Right. So before we close, I just want to say, because I forgot to say before, our opinions each are our own individual opinions. They have nothing to do with the station and or their sponsors. Or each other, really. So we
completely
just want to offer a comfortable place where we can come, give our knowledge, trade opinions, and hopefully bring in some people that want to help change the world. And we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
You have been listening to We Are the People with social advocates Tracy Max and Jorge Estamba, who every week bring to the light the needs and changes in our current system. Tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. on wearethepeople.tv and participate in the conversation in the chat room or call 888 565-1470. Tune in next Monday for more information and facts. And Tracy and Jorge remind you to stay aware of your surroundings and challenges at all times.